This is my presentation over the marijuana economy. In this presentation, we will discuss the current economic figures, the marijuana industry, social concerns, and the conclusion. By no means is this a comprehensive overview. There's many different controversies and topics surrounding this, but we will just try to stick with economics for the most part. And here we go. Current economic figures, job growth, real GDP, and real wage. Looking first at job growth, you can kind of see up here in the red lines, you can see a steady drop off from year to year, and that kind of gives you an idea on where the progression is. It's on a steady decline. Same goes on the real GDP. The percent of annual growth has declined. You can see from 9606 to the 0616. However, the projected data is there in red. Does have it going up. The actual nominal figures on the GDP is going up. It's just the percent of growth hasn't been as strong as it has been in years past. On the real wage, you can look at the real hourly wage and weekly wage. You can see in 2013 where it starts, and then kind of in 2016, basically not much change. There's a big fluctuation in the middle, but relatively the same. When you take a closer look at the marijuana industry, we're kind of looking at the same things there: job growth, effect on real GDP, wages in the industry. Looking first at job growth, industry analysis suggests that there could be 400,000 jobs by 2021. That's probably a pretty aggressive estimate, but in all, the labor supply does far outnumber the labor demand. Um, so there's by far a lot more people seeking this type of work than there is jobs available. There's everything from retail sales to edible makers to laboratory work and even testing out the product. Um, you can see there's a master grower making 250,000 a year. I think that's probably at the top of the job chain there. The effect on GDP from marijuana, you can see in 2016 marijuana sales in North America reached 6.7 billion, reaching an astounding 30% growth. That's kind of unheard of, and even if it continues at a 25% annual sales growth, it could reach 20.2 billion by 2021. This would make a huge impact on the GDP because currently the black market and illegal drug sales do not contribute. However, if you do add this market, legalize it, tax it, it could measure quite significantly. Colorado alone sold 1.3 billion in marijuana sales, generated 200 million in tax revenue for the state. So they've had quite a boost in their economy just in that one state alone since legalizing. And moving on into industry wages, you can see entry level jobs are very similar to other industries, especially in retail. They can range from 12 to 15 an hour. However, the difference in the industry here is that advancement opportunities have come very quickly. People in less than a year working in the business have been able to move up into salaries ranging from 50 to 90,000 annually. So a lot of opportunity there. And moving on into some of the social concerns. First, we're going to look at the overview and map of the United States where legalization occurs and some of the other laws like medical laws and leniency. Some marijuana myths and some ideas on where regulation should be. So, looking first at the U.S. map of legalization in the dark green areas on the West Coast and Maine and Massachusetts up there in the Northeast, you can see um, that's where recreational marijuana is allowed, and of course, Colorado. Now, in the green area, bright green, such as Missouri, basically small amounts of marijuana are not going to be prosecuted, so there's somewhat of a leniency there. The yellow states are where medical marijuana laws already exist, and I thought what was interesting is to match up this legalization map with the 2016 election map, and you can take a look and see where areas of blue differ from red, kind of get an idea of where that resides on that map. And let's revisit the legalization map and kind of look. Maybe you can see a pattern. You can discern that for yourself. And move on. There's a common myth. There's two that we'll debunk here. One is if you make marijuana legal and recreational use, youth will smoke it, and it'll just cause a major uptick in youth participation. Well, the Journal of Addiction in 2018 said that that is not the case, and all the literature says that that is not true. The other one is this buzz about marijuana decreasing opioid overdose. That's also not exactly true because marijuana just isn't that great of a pain reliever. It doesn't. People that are in a lot of persistent and chronic pain, they do get some benefit of marijuana, but it's just not as big as it is probably purported to be. So that is also a myth that has been debunked. So there's been a little bit of over claiming its value, and then a little bit of hysteria regarding youth. On to regulations, though. There does seem to be a lack of standardization amongst states, even states that have legalized in the last few years. There needs to be some sort of consistency and standardization about driving while high. Um, there doesn't seem to be, any kind of uniform agreement on that. Also, quantities sold of marijuana. It's very different products are sold in today's times, where it's extremely potent, and just like alcohol is measured with alcohol percentage, alcohol by volume, there needs to be some figures on the marijuana, so you know what you're putting into your body and how that might affect you. So really, states need to be, some sort of standardization on what does intoxication entail. I think looking ahead in the future, that is a necessity. We need to establish some laws to prohibit and punish impaired driving, and how to measure that going forward. There also should be some avoiding this hysteria that everyone's going to smoke weed, if it's legal. That hasn't been the case, and it continues to not be the case, surprisingly, to many people against legalization. But really, back to the economy, there is a twofold benefit to legalization, especially of recreational marijuana, and that is not only the tremendous sale of marijuana and the taxation that comes with that, there's also the savings of not wasting resources, police, prosecutions, when you decriminalize it. So you get the cost savings there in addition to the income benefits of marijuana sales. This has been the Marijuana Economy presentation. My name is Nathan Roten, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you.